What?
This guy's wearing my shirt.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hey, hold on 1 second. I need to turn off.
Why are you trying to wear my shirt, man?
What?
Why are you trying to wear my shirt?
Your shirt?
Yeah.
I can't even see you. Hold on.
It's because I'm black.
What? Okay, whatever. Whatever. Hey, no, I got Transformers on. I don't got the cool necklace, but I got Transformers on.
Mine says Rider, and it's a cross.
Rider or whiter?
Like Rider. Like you're a writer, like you write books.
You got a haircut.
Yeah,
I need one or something.
I got faded up. Let me see. This is the best angle. I think it is. Can you see me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's do it. So what's the topic?
Fallback girl.
So what is that? Like, okay. All right.
What's a fallback girl?
We live right now? We're jumping in right in?
Well, we're live right now, but I'll cut it out. I mean, you know, I'm not going to put this on the air. You know, I'll cut it out. But Fallback Girl, I have a book. It's a pretty good book. Have you ever heard this book?
Nope.
It's actually a pretty decent book. Mr. Unavailable and the Fallback Girl. And then I also have this one called You Just Up That Into You. So what I did was I'm like, I got to come up with a topic. So I'm like, let's just see what J.O. and I can come up with when we talk about a fallback girl. So what's a fallback girl? And then we'll just go into it.
So let's just jump in. Let's do introduction and let's not even talk about what we're going to say. Let's just go.
I don't listen. It's my show. Damn it. Hey, everyone. This is Mark. I'm here with J.O. And we're going to talk today about the Fallout Girl. And so without further ado, J.O. and I have not talked about this topic. In fact, it'll be interesting to see what happens out of this conversation. So anyway, J.O., welcome back to the show. And how's your day going so far?
Going good. Had a nice baby doctor's appointment. Our daughter's developing nicely. So we got a lot of big things in the work. So we're just taking it one day at a time.
Awesome. When is she due?
September 24th. So we're about 3.5 weeks away. And it's like pack a bag, get the car seat put in, make sure you're ready as well as you can be. I mean, this is all new for both of us. So we're just wait and see.
Wow. Are you nervous?
Absolutely. I'm scared out of my mind.
What are you scared most about?
Two things. The first one is just understanding the role that I have as being her father and being intentional and guiding her through life, making sure I'm putting in her the best information, knowing that that's not going to determine how she comes out, but I do want to give her a chance. And the second one is just fending off, the criticism of why did you do that or this the judgment, feeling this chatter of judgment in my head of, being a stay-at-home dad or any of that type of judgment that may come along with being a first-time parent and how people who have 19 kids have done it and how you should do it. So just sifting through all the information and seeing what actually is practical and what is going to work for us and our family.
Yeah, because everybody's going to have their little 2 cents to throw in there, right?
Right, absolutely.
What they think you should do and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm here. If you need anything, I'm not a father yet, so I don't know why I just said that, but anyway, I know it can be
You know,
stressful.
you're lending support what friends do. Just, hey man, if you need just to even chit chat, I'm here. Just that's nice of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just to blow off steam. So, I wanted to just talk about real quick. I was sharing with Jo right before the show that I had this book, and it's a fantastic book. It's called Mr. Unavailable and the Fallback Girl. And Jo has never read this book, and I'll have to admit I have not read the whole thing, but it's a great book for women out there and men actually, because I'm learning a lot too. But I just wanted to not really go into the book as far as what the book says, but as like a jump spot, talk about Jo and I are just going to have a discussion about what a fallback girl is. And first of all, Jo, what comes to your mind when you hear the term fallback girl?
Fallback girl.
Have you heard that? Have you heard that? Like,
no, I have not heard that at all. So one thing that comes to my mind right off the bat is safety net. Safety net. So, and this is you can use. I think about this in a lot of different ways, from being single to dating to a committed relationship to marriage. And you gotta, in my mind, when I hear fallback, I'm hearing a male unwilling to cut the umbilical cord for all intents and purposes and go all in on a relationship where he may or may not come out with anything else to come with, but just he gave it all he had. So you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door is what I'm hearing. 1 foot in, 1 foot out with the fallback. That's just kind of what comes my safety net. Just not completely 100% in. You still got a little bit of something to fall back in case things don't quote unquote work out.
right. So in dating, for me personally, I've had fallback girls. In other words, like you were talking about, where you're kind of dating, but you're not totally committed, and you always, or for me, my personal experience is I always had someone in the back of my mind that I could always kind of go back to if this particular relationship didn't work out. It was like there was always a backup, and so that's what I wanted to talk about. Is have you ever do you have any experience with that, maybe either personally or people that you're aware of? And then just talk about maybe if we think there can be anything done about that, or at least just to bring the awareness that these people exist. I mean, I've had them. I do.
So first off, do they exist? Yes. They're not unicorns, okay? They're real. They really do exist, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, have I experienced this personally? I have. That's not something I'm saying with a proud look on my face. That's just the reality of needing to grow up and needing to be in a relationship where I was willing to risk everything I had for the sake of seeing what the future held for this particular relationship. So before I really got serious, when I was in a very adolescent age of dating, I grew up with a mindset that you played the field. Was that the best advice? It was not at all. But it was all about keeping your options open. Then as I got older, got into college, you had a girl that you dated that was quote unquote serious, but it was always that one girl that in case something happened.
Right.
Well, that's not a good way to be in any type of relationship. That's if I was going to go into business with someone, let's take a relationship out. Let's just say if I was going to go into business and go into an investment with someone, I wouldn't want to go into a business relationship with someone and then I know later on they got somebody on a back burner in case this thing falls through. Then that makes me feel like that person never gave 100% of their resources to invest in the business arrangement that we have with one another. Not to say relationships are a quote unquote business, but in some areas they do have a sense of we're all invested, we're all in it together. And once I started dating my wife, I can distinctly remember picking up the phone and calling girls that I was dating, but more importantly, calling that one girl and being like, look, I met somebody. I don't know what it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to give it a shot. I'm all in. So don't call me anymore. And that was when I really was dating my wife before we got engaged and went on to get married. I remember making a phone call, and that was because that was the first time I ever called that particular girl. You know, other girls in the past, I've been like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of seeing somebody, want to see what works. But that quote unquote fallback girl, that safety net, that one that I felt like, you know, I could go back to if something happened. I remember picking up the phone and calling her and saying, hey, don't call me anymore. This is not going to work out. I want to give this person everything I have to see what's going to happen. That's 100% necessary if you're a man who really is tired of trying to be quote unquote cool and play the field, and it's time to pony up, get in a relationship, and put it all on the line and see what is it made of.
So when you were at that point where you called that fallback girl, were you nervous or not?
I never even thought about it, because I had reached the point where I was ready, for me personally, to give all I had to a relationship. Just like anything else in life, if for me personally, Mark, if I have a little bit of my eye on the other side of the field, if you will, kind of looking a little bit on the other side of the fence, I'm not really 100% focused. What I didn't realize at the time, you know, God put me with the person that I'm with right now, and he couldn't have orchestrated it any better. But some of the other relationships I was in before I married my wife, I guarantee you, you know, I don't know what they would have worked out. It didn't work out the way it did, and thank God for that. But I never really gave that person the best shot, which is fortunately unfair to them. They never got the best shot, because the fallback girl never allows for a true 100% willingness to work through difficult times. And when I made that phone call, said, hey, don't call me anymore, we're no longer together, what that literally put me into was a mindset of, I'm going to have to be able to work through any difficult situation with this person that I was dating, because I want to see what's the best that can come of our relationship.
Does a fallback girl need to be in a relationship with you?
No, it doesn't even, the relationship is anytime. For me, the relationship is not something where we were talking on a regular basis. It said that they were available at any point.
Right.
That was the relationship. The relationship was availability.
So you knew that this particular fallback girl would, chances are, take you back when things didn't work out. You know, she was like a second place. If this one didn't work out over here, I have options, and you're the fallback girl.
Absolutely. And here's the thing about that. Unfortunately, in certain areas, this is why men don't step up to the plate and really invest in relationships. Because that lady, granted, she was a great person, but she knew that she wasn't my first choice. She knew that I was always seeing somebody else, and then we were some type of way find our way back together and then go back. The sad thing about that is, as a man, knowing that I had somebody else I could go to, I made it to the point where I never really wanted to. I played the field longer than I think I should have. I would have, you know, granted, I needed to take ownership of my own actions, but in certain ways, she contributed to the ability of knowing that I could go back whenever I want, because she was just there, just available.
Okay, right. So let's flip it for a minute. I get that. So if somebody out there might be wondering, wait a minute, am I a fallback girl? Is there anything you could share that maybe would be a clue as far as it's like you might be a redneck if, no, but like you might be a fallback girl if what?
You know, now with technology and the way things are, it's so hard to detect, and it's still easy at the same time, a slime ball, you know. If they're not willing to, you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say how do you feel, because you can say, well, they spend time with you, but I mean, if it's a makeup breakup type thing, and they're not making the commitments, or then yeah, I can say you can see it then. But who's to say they make all those commitments? They show you around all their friends, and their friends just don't never mention that you happen to be the girl that this in between girl. So it's hard to say how you spot it. Unfortunately, thinking I'm about to have a daughter, how would I encourage her to notice a guy who is a quote unquote fallback? I'd tell you the best way right off the bat: don't have sex.
Okay, so can you have a fallback girl without sex?
You can, but if it's a guy who's really into, and that now that is when the issue becomes so detrimental to the whole dating scheme. It's when it's a guy who is dating a girl who doesn't want to have sex before marriage, keeping her morality, keeping what she believes is her value, and the guy's like, I date you, but I'm gonna keep falling back on this girl, getting what I want out of it until we get quote unquote to that place where we get married. Then I cut her loose, and then we go on to marry, and then we have now that right there.
That happens all the time.
It's tough,
right? True. That happens. Like I'm gonna keep you around, and I'm guilty of this. I'm not gonna be here sitting here and saying that I'm just like innocent. I'm guilty of this. Like in my head, I don't say this out loud, and sometimes I don't even realize that it's actually happening. Sometimes I do, and I do my best. It's not hard. It's not easy, but sometimes I do my best to pull back and say, this is not okay. I'm not okay with this. But sometimes it's like we hang on to people in our lives that we know is not really going to work out, but they're filling a need at that particular point in our lives. And so we keep them around, even though we know that they're not the best fit for us. We know that they're not going to be the one or your person or your forever someone, but we still keep them around because we're getting a benefit from them. And so it's really challenging. So I just wanted to kind of just talk about it and see if there's anything we could kind of just share. So did you have more than one fallback girl? I know I did.
Yeah, I have.
Do you have any? And I love this because this is totally organic. Because I'm telling you right now, Jo and I have not talked about this, so any answers that come out of Jo's mouth right now are totally organic. So Jo, on the spot right now, it's not too personal. What would you say? Just give me three. What would you say might be characteristics or themes that you've noticed about fallback girls?
It depends on the person.
But is there any like maybe anything?
Lead into that. I don't know what that means because
I tend to notice that fallback girls that I've been engaged with or heard about or whatever the case is are not the most confident, assertive women in the world.
So I can't co-sign that, and the reason why is I've dated some women when I was single that were highly intelligent, highly professional, very confident, but just like you said a few moments ago, how people are quote unquote sometimes attracted to that toxic person where they're not good for you. They're not bringing out your best qualities, and if you looked at it from 30,000 feet above the sky, it'll be like, what the hell are you doing? You know that this person is bad, but everything else in your life seems to make perfect sense. And then this guy comes in, and a lot of times I was that guy, and it was because maybe I was charismatic, I said the right words, I fit the right profile. So I don't think it's somewhat of a confident thing. I think sometimes it's
confidence.
I don't think it's so much a confidence thing. I think sometimes the characteristics are all different. It may be the fear of a girl may have allowed themselves to become a quote unquote fallback girl with the fear of not wanting to be alone.
So so sometimes fallback girls are aware that they're actually fallback girls.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, a male. So here's the deal. A male will only go as far as a female will allow them to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a female that's allowing herself to become a quote unquote fallback girl, and he's aware of it, he's going to continue to go to that well because he knows that he can drink from it. Until the well is cut off, then he's not going to, unless he's truly a man of integrity and really living a life where he wants to be, his actions and his words all be aligned to what he believes in. There's some guys that are just dogs and they just don't care. They're going to drink from well to well to well to well. That's just what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a man who's really reached a point where he's like, hey, you know what? This is not who I want to be. This is not working out the way I want. That kind of where I hit my wall. And I picked up the phone and called this particular lady and said, hey, I'm getting ready to go down a serious relationship path. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to give it all I have. That lady that I called never once said, hey, this well is closed. So I could have kept going to that well as much as I want. Now, she maybe would have closed it 5 months down the road, 5 years down the road. But the 4 to 5 years beforehand, she never did. So to answer your original question, if there are characteristics of certain women that fit into this, I think they're all different across the board, because there are some women who know that they are a fallback girl, but they get the good looking guy because they know that they're going to show up at the dinner party and be that trophy for Friday nights. Then they deal with it. It's just the same way of people having 3 or 4 different baby daddies.
Is there a remedy? What's the remedy?
You know, if I was to look at one right off the bat that would really kind of cipher through all the BS and get straight to the core, I would say, you know, for me personally and my beliefs and being a Christian, it would say no sex before marriage. And this is not speaking from a guy who lived and walked in those shoes. But understanding when sex comes into the equation, I used to think so many times, like, man, why does God want us to do this stuff? Because this is stupid. If he blah, blah, blah. It's not actually because he doesn't want me to have a good time or enjoy life. It's because at certain levels and areas of my life, it's not best for me to experience that part of the equation, because I'm not prepared to handle it and deal with it. Certain consequences come with it if it's done out of the way it's designed. So for me, having sex before marriage, yeah, it may have felt good, it may have felt pleasurable. I may have, quote unquote, getting a need met. But at the end of the day, as I look back on my life now, there was a lot of pain that I could have avoided, a lot of relationships that I had no business being in at all, but my eyes saw it. It looked good, so let me take it. Let me do whatever I wanted to. And it was the tracks were off the train was off the tracks. So one remedy, to answer your question, Mark, for me, looking back from the 35-year-old person to if I was 19 again or 18, would be no sex. Because that just messed up a lot. That messed up all my thinking.
Right, but we're probably talking to an audience, whoever is listening, that guess what? They've already tasted the donut and they know it's sweet, so they're going to kind of keep going back for that sugar fix. So what happens then?
Well, number one, everything that continues to happen after the fact is because we haven't learned that the stove is hot. So burn your hand off if you need to, but you know, you're going to keep touching it. You're going to keep getting burnt. You know, me personally, you know, it's a two-way street. Once I said earlier, men will continue to go unless you're dealing with a man's man who's reached a point where it's like, look, you know what, this is not. It's time for me to be about my business and really stepping up to the plate. Unless there's a man that has come along and embraced that role and realized that they're not boys anymore, it's the female's job to close up shop and say that, you know, this is not happening. See, what happens is, you know, a lot of females make it easier for men to continue being dogs. Because the female counsel, the women counsel themselves out. Because the guy know that if I just keep going down the door, knocking on doors, eventually one of the females are going to open up and I'm going to get what I want.
Oh yeah, it's all a matter of time.
It's all the doors are shut. All of a sudden he gets looking into a mirror. It's like, damn.
But that will never happen, J.O. Never. Never, never. And I'll tell you why. Because when a man's desperate, when a man wants to, get pleased or get satisfied, he will find it. He'll find it.
So you asked the question, what's the remedy? One of the remedy I would feel would be understanding that, educating and empowering women to know that they are hurting themselves when they make it so available and so easy to become a fallback girl.
Right. Well, and the problem is that one of the challenges is that, sex is one of those things that feels amazing, but it's also an analgesic, which means that it kind of anesthetizes you and it numbs pain, right? So you get those kick of endorphins and you get the high of feeling really good. It's kind of like going for a long run, and then you feel good afterwards. So if you're feeling some emotional pain and then you have sex, it feels good, but then sometimes you regret it later. So that's why it's so difficult. And then you get emotions involved, and then you get all the chemicals involved with being connected and so forth. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of vulnerability and true intimacy, because until people can actually really explore and uncover what's going on underneath that, I don't know that it'll ever stop.
But here's the thing with that, Mark. You can have all those things you just mentioned, the vulnerability and the intimacy, and still be a fallback girl. See, that's the thing about it.
But you, in my opinion, be less and less, because here's the way I would see it, and I would love for you to disagree just for the sake of talking. But when I've met plenty of women that don't have a lot of awareness about this whole concept of being a fallback girl. And the more awareness they have, the more ability they have to take a different direction in their life. However, they really need support. And there's a lot of people, like habits rule the unreflecting herd. So if there's a culture where there's a lot of fallback women, or there's a culture where people don't know how to support people who are trying to make a change, it's going to be really difficult. However, once that awareness is created, once that awareness is like, aha, I can do something different, this might be what I need to do to make a change, then they can build on that and they can begin to shift the process of becoming less of a fallback girl. I'm not saying it's going to change overnight.
So some of that holds water, and I'm not, if that's what you connect to and it makes sense, then make it happen. Two things come to my mind. One is, availability. So you said numb out. It's just the same way as the guy who works long hours and every Friday night he goes and he has his favorite beer.
Right.
If there was no more Budweiser on the shelf, then all of a sudden it'd be like, well, God, what am I gonna drink? So availability.
Right.
But eventually he may be like, there's no more Budweiser, but it's still beer, and go on to a different brand,
like Blue Ribbon or some other crap.
Whatever,
right.
So let's go past that and go to a deeper. For me, is the heart of people. Is a transformed heart produces a transformed life. So it's the heart of people. So men will have to reach a place where we understand that women aren't objects to be possessed, to go to for our beck and call, but to really connect to understanding that what is this going to serve me to be with this quote unquote woman, because I'm feeling a certain type of way, knowing that I'm not willing to be committed and go into a marriage or relationship that goes for the long haul. So there are certain people who don't believe in marriage, who don't want to be married, and they just enjoy being a bachelor. Then you know what? This conversation may not be for you.
Right, exactly.
But if there's someone who's looking for a relationship with sustainability and to go into marriage and go into that aspect of their life, then this may be something that can be beneficial. So some people are going to be like, man, this is stupid. I like playing the field. I like doing what I do. And there are females, unfortunately, they have reached that place where they want to be the Samantha of Sex and the City and enjoy that role and relish in that. But if it's coming up with heartache and pain, for me, one of the other remedies would be understanding the heart of people. And the best way to understand the heart of people is understand the heart of myself. How am I going to want to show up into a relationship without wounding somebody over and over again to get my selfish needs met? I may have to be willing to go through the pain. A lot of men don't want to go through pain. We may go through pain on a football field. We may go through pain of something of that nature, but the pain of losing a job, we want to numb out with drugs and alcohol. The pain of losing a parent, the pain of losing, the emotional pain can't always just be replaced with an orgasm or with some type of fallback of anything to avoid the pain that we're going through. The growth happens in the pain. And that's how the relationships become what you said earlier, which was key, intimate. They become intimate by going through the pain. So, and that goes through the heart. Fallback people, girls or males, whatever you may be, they cut the pain out of being able to grow, because once we feel it, we check out.
Oh, yep. So how does someone lean into that?
You lean into it by realizing we're not going to die from it. You know, the pain is not there to hurt. The growth is in the pain. You're not going to die. I learned
feels like death sometimes.
If it may feel like it, you know, I'll tell you a quick funny story.
And then we got to wrap up, so we're not going too long.
No. When I was in college, I was playing football, and it was this older coach. He was an older guy. He's about 72 at the time, retired military. But he used to have this saying when things got hard in West Texas and there's 104 degrees outside and you're practicing. He would say, if you feel like you're going to die, check it out and see. You may wake up and be surprised. And this guy was in some of the best shape I've ever seen in my life. This guy was 72 years old, and his workout regimen would put Rocky to shame. I mean, I walked into the gym one morning, and this guy's like 5 o'clock in the morning doing Rocky Balboa sit-ups. I mean, this guy was amazing. But his thing was, sometimes we think it's so painful that we're going to die, and that's not the case. You know, if we go through a breakup, the loss of a job, it might be something better, another opportunity is out there. But unfortunately, we're not willing to go through that pain. And the fallback girls guys eliminate us from that pain. So one of the ways we have to be, one of the remedy to understand that life is pain. To live on this earth, you're going to go through some pain, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that we've done something wrong. But we got to go through it. You may be surprised what comes out on the other side. I may be a better man for it, a better husband, one day a better father for it. But I'm not going to be better for it if I keep falling back into the same thing and stunts my growth. I just keep trying to go around a circle, but I keep getting stopped right here. I'm not even going around and stop and fall back. I might want to turn into a butterfly one day, but I can't get out the cocoon because every time I hit the top of it, I get scared and fall back into my shell.
Right. So until a person is willing to lean into the pain and discomfort, then they're not ready for a full committed relationship.
Exactly.
Either to themselves or to somebody else.
I think you nailed that first part better. To yourself. I have to be willing, Mark, to be in a relationship with myself before I can even begin to be in a relationship with someone else. Some people don't even like being in a room when it's quiet and they're the only person in there because they left to their own thoughts. Freak out.
Yeah.
So I think you just crushed it right there. It's just being able to be in a relationship with myself.
What's the quote? You're never alone if you like the person that you're with.
I never heard that before, but I like it. It sounds great.
Right?
I mean, that's pretty freaking awesome, actually.
Yeah. And working with people, sometimes it's just like, you know, they're constantly going and doing and stuff like that. So they're running from experiencing, right? That's basically what they're running from, is experiencing whatever's kind of underneath all of that. And so sometimes I said, well, you know, what about spiritual life? What about that? And they said, well, you know, I don't have enough time to do this or do that. And I was like, but wait a minute, I'm not talking about you have to run to yoga, or you have to run to like a church, or you have to run somewhere. I'm not saying you have to go and do anything. All I'm saying is just try to go be for 10 minutes and just be with you, and that's it. And if you notice your thoughts are going, just notice that. Notice how much you're attached to your crazy thoughts and blah, blah, blah. And it's so hard. And that's a whole another topic for a whole different day. But I think, just to sum up, a fallback person, a fallback girl, because they're fallback men too,
Mhm.
fallback boys, whatever, would be somebody who continues to take people back after the individual has gone out and tried to pollinate other flowers.
Yeah.
And continues to come back and come back and come back. And I think one thing to look at is, why would you, as a fallback girl, allow that to continue to keep coming back into your life? And the reason for me is that you are not fulfilled enough yourself. So you have to take a lot of the breadcrumbs, because you're not willing to wait for the whole loaf of bread.
Yeah, all that makes sense. All that makes sense. And it comes down to, especially where we are now with being able to just, everything happens instantaneously, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
everything, so nobody's willing to take the time, unfortunately, to let things develop.
Right. Right.
Sometimes relationships are like a garden. You gotta get in there. You gotta grind it out. You gotta prune. You gotta fertilize the soil. You gotta work at it. It's not a crock pot. You're not just gonna put a bunch of stuff in there, turn it on, and go out the door and come back. All of a sudden, you're married down the road with 5 kids, just living off greatness. It's a lot of churning to the relationship.
So one of the things I think, and then we'll wrap it up, but I think there's a lot of good stuff in this book, and maybe we can just use this as a jump point. But one of the things they talk about is, so people, if they are knowing that they have a fallback girl, or you might be connecting with a fallback girl, the people who connect with these fallback women often can increase their level of intensity. They can make it appear that they're super into them, and they can give them the world, but they give them the world only for a short period of time. Like you were talking about, Jo, it's like they don't have a long time to let it fully develop. It's like they're there, and when they're there, it's amazing. It's like spectacular. There's connection. There's all kinds of chemistry, but they don't sustain it. They don't stick around for a long time, because it's not authentic for long periods of time. It's just not possible. That's one of the things they were talking about in this book. But I know we have just really started to unravel this whole thing about being a fallback girl, fallback person, really. So I don't know if you wanted to end up with any little last words, but then we're just going to wrap it up, and then we'll pick it up next week.
I guess the last thing I would just say is just, if you're in a relationship and it just keeps break up the makeup over and over and over again, be willing to look into yourself and decide, what ultimately do you want to move forward, and if this person's going to be in the future with you. You might have to be willing to be single. Secondly, I would say this: the best thing that I ever gave my wife, being able to date her and get engaged and become married, was picking up that phone and being all in, to be willing to work through difficult situations. And she had the same situation. She had to call a person and say, hey, you know what? I got to see what's going to happen with this. And amazing things can happen. But if we're not willing to pick up the phone, then we're going to continue to fall back into that same pattern over and over again.
Yeah. And so I think indirectly we've kind of touched on 2 different aspects. One is the one who is actually the fallback person themselves, and then how to lessen your fallback, subject or whatever. In other words, if you are a person who is fully aware that they have the fallback girls and wants to get to a different stage in life, then you need to be courageous enough to step up to the plate and say, you know what, I gotta cut my losses. I gotta cut all my back doors. I have to take this island, and I'm scared as hell, but I gotta do it.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats. Burn the boats. So anyway, there's a lot more to talk about. And so, Jo, thanks again for coming on the show, and we will bring back next week. Same, around the same time, same topic, relationships, or anything else that might be forwarding and helpful for people. So until next time, you guys, take care. Have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Later.
So, Jo, real quick, and then I'll cut this off. But this is really cool. Like, I read this book because
We still run live. You still want to run live?
we're still running live. That's fine. I'll cut it off.
Oh.
But fast forwarding. Fast forwarding is a form of future making, and it refers to someone who sweeps you in the middle of a tide of intensity while pursuing or being in a relationship so that you end up missing crucial informations about them. They will future fake. They'll also behave intensely, putting so many demands on you, emotional, sexual, wanting you to be with them all the time, that you believe the level of intensity you're experiencing is what's on offer and also reflective of the intensity of their feelings for you.
You know what that is?
What?
You don't even need to read no further. That's called lust, dude.
Okay.
That's lust. That's lust. Lust. So it's just like the guy who cheats on his wife. You know, he has his wife. He has a stable marriage, somewhat an all-intensive purpose, the routine of marriage. Okay.
Yeah.
But then he has the hot secretary or the woman he hooks with and went up with when he's out of town on business trip.
Right.
That's lust. They have crazy freaking weekend, wine, champagne, dessert, all the great stuff, all the just this. Oh my God, it's just so much power. It moves so fast. Boom, explosion. It's lust, man.
Yeah.
Go back, and that's exactly that's the cycle it gets in. Or it's the girl that you're dating, but then you meet the other girl and you're not dating her, but she's hot. She looks good to the eye. And your girlfriend, y'all dating, but she goes out of town for a couple of days or goes to see her family for a homecoming or for a family reunion or something. And all of a sudden you end up having sex with this girl for 2 straight days. Y'all locked up in a room. Y'all not going anywhere. Y'all listening to music. Y'all eating ice cream. And you're talking about the future and you're clicking on a level that you never thought possible. And it feels like where have you been all my life? You know?
Right.
Anybody can spend a lot of money on a weekend, but can you sustain a relationship of a lifetime? I can spend bottles of wine and champagnes and I can pack it all in a weekend, make it look great. You know,
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
I can be a baller for a weekend, but not for a lifetime.
I might be able to be a baller for like a day. I don't know about a weekend.
Exactly. Depending on where we balling at. If we balling at, I'm just going for a couple of hours.
Yeah, right. But it's just this book has a lot of cool things just to kind of as a jump start, you know. It's like, you know, you said lust, it's a different category. It's not a different category, it's the same thing. But they talk about this one is what they do. You know, they push for emotional commitment and often sexual intimacy very quickly. They make you feel like they're the center of their universe. They distract you from looking too closely at them. That's what I do.
Oh, you know what that also is? I almost forgot. That's a player.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
That guy right there.
May introduce you to friends and families, including their kids, very quickly. Say stuff like, but it feels like we've known each other for months. When you object to something, you mention how you hardly know each other. Let's see. Even though they appear to respect an honest, asserted boundary, they often attempt to recross it very quickly. They're very persistent when you're not interested in them, and will often leave quickly when you state that you're the one.
Yeah. Now, it all sounds good until the other person starts buying into the stuff you've been saying, and then that's when they want to stop.
Right.
It's a player, man. Unfortunately, they gonna always be out there.
Yep. All right, man. I will I'll cut this and all this kind of stuff. Probably do it out this weekend.
Yeah, cut it. The other one I sent to some friends that really liked it. I got to get a YouTube. Is there any way I can send those off my page or whatever?
Sure.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. So we'll keep doing this. I think this one was good. It was just kind of like a little more just I hope the sound's better on this one. Last time the sound wasn't that great on my end.
So you had a little moment on your end, but overall it sounded great. I don't know what we did this time, but I don't even have my headphones in. You sound great.
Well, I'm using the old things instead of my Bluetooth.
I need to figure out a way to put it like, I guess I'm gonna have to get in some type of social media, because all I got is like LinkedIn, and I just, I got like I have to figure something out and go from there.
Okay, well, if you have a Gmail account, right?
Yeah.
Then if you have a Gmail account, then you go to your Gmail account. If you could just, do you want to open it right now and I can show you real quick?
Well, my Gmail account?
Yeah, I can just walk you through it real quick. I'm gonna, yeah, just that's fine. We can still.
What am I doing here?